What if the most painful lesson you'll ever learn has nothing to do with failure, but everything to do with people? Not because they openly turned against you, not because they hated you, but because one day, without warning, you realized they were never who you believed they were. Every Sigma eventually reaches this moment. It doesn't happen overnight, it happens quietly. A friend slowly becomes distant. Someone you trusted breaks a promise. People who once supported you suddenly disappear the moment your life starts moving forward. At first, you make excuses for them. You tell yourself they're just busy. You try to understand their perspective. You give them another chance, and then another. But eventually, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. You realize that loyalty isn't as common as you thought. Respect isn't guaranteed, and not everyone who smiles at you genuinely wants to see you succeed. The painful part isn't losing those people. The painful part is discovering that you were giving your time, trust, and energy to people who never valued them the way you did. For many Sigma personalities, this becomes the turning point that changes everything. It's the moment they stop chasing acceptance. They stop explaining themselves to everyone. They stop trying to fit into places where they never truly belonged. Instead, they begin paying attention to actions instead of words. They choose peace over popularity, purpose over approval, growth over comfort. Psychologists often say that the experiences that hurt us the most are also the ones that reshape our thinking. Pain has a way of exposing reality. It removes illusions, reveals true intentions, and forces us to become stronger than we ever expected. That doesn't mean the journey is easy. In fact, every lesson comes with a price. Sometimes that price is a friendship. Sometimes it's a relationship. Sometimes it's realizing that the people you expected to stand beside you were only there for a season. In today's video, we're uncovering the painful lessons every Sigma eventually faces. These aren't theories or motivational quotes. They're truths that countless people discover through experience, often much later than they wish they had. Some of these lessons may explain situations you've been confused about for years. Others may completely change the way you look at trust, success, relationships, and even yourself. So stay with us until the end, because the final lesson is the one that transforms everything. Once you truly understand it, you'll never see people or your own life the same way again. Before we begin, if you're passionate about Sigma psychology, human behavior, and powerful self-improvement insights, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Now, let's explore the painful lesson every Sigma eventually faces and why it may become your greatest source of strength. The people you trust the most can hurt you the most. One of the most painful lessons every Sigma eventually faces is realizing that the deepest pain rarely comes from strangers. It usually comes from the people you trusted the most. In the beginning, you believe that loyalty creates loyalty. You think that if you stand by someone during their hardest moments, they'll do the same for you. You offer your time, your support, and your trust without expecting much in return. But life has a way of testing that belief. As the years pass, you begin noticing something uncomfortable. Some people only appreciate your loyalty when it benefits them. They're happy to accept your help, your advice, and your kindness. But when you need them, they're suddenly too busy, too distracted, or simply nowhere to be found. At first, you make excuses for them because you don't want to believe someone you cared about could disappoint you. Eventually, however, actions become impossible to ignore. You realize that words are easy, but consistency is rare. Real loyalty isn't proven during comfortable times, it's revealed during difficult ones. A Sigma doesn't become wiser by trusting everyone. He becomes wiser by learning who has earned that trust. Although this lesson is painful, it teaches you something invaluable. Protect your trust until people prove they deserve it. Not everyone who enters your life deserves a permanent place in it. Not everyone wants you to become better. One of the biggest surprises every Sigma experiences is discovering that personal growth doesn't inspire everyone. In fact, it often makes certain people uncomfortable. When you first begin improving yourself, most people seem supportive. They compliment your goals, encourage your ideas, and tell you they hope you succeed. But once your progress becomes real, some of those same people begin acting differently. They may joke about your discipline, question your decisions, or tell you that you've changed. At first, you wonder if they're right. You question yourself and try to understand why the relationship suddenly feels different. But over time, you realize the problem isn't your growth. It's the way your growth makes them feel. Your progress reminds some people of the dreams they abandoned, the habits they refused to change, or the opportunities they never took. Instead of using your success as motivation, they see it as a comparison. That's why genuine supporters become incredibly valuable. They celebrate your victories without feeling threatened by them. A Sigma eventually stops seeking approval from everyone. He understands that the people who truly belong in his life will never ask him to become smaller, just to protect their own comfort. Real friends grow with you. The wrong people quietly disappear, and while that can be painful, it also creates space for relationships built on respect instead of convenience. Your silence will always be misunderstood. One of the most frustrating lessons every Sigma eventually learns is that silence is often misunderstood. You may choose to speak only when you have something meaningful to say. You may enjoy listening more than talking, avoiding arguments that lead nowhere, and staying away from unnecessary attention. To you, silence is peaceful, but to many other people, silence is a mystery, and people often fear what they don't understand. Some will assume you're arrogant because you don't constantly join every conversation. Others may believe you're angry, unfriendly, or secretly judging everyone around you. The truth is usually much simpler. You're not trying to impress anyone or appear mysterious. You're simply comfortable with yourself, and you don't feel the need to fill every moment with words. Psychologists explain that when people can't easily understand someone, their minds naturally create stories to fill in the missing pieces. Instead of asking questions, they make assumptions. That's why two different people can have completely different opinions about the exact same person. A Sigma eventually realizes that trying to correct every misunderstanding is a battle that can never truly be won. No matter how clearly you explain yourself, some people will continue believing whatever fits their own perspective. The real lesson is learning to become comfortable with being misunderstood. Your character is revealed through your actions over time, not through endless explanations. The people who genuinely matter will take the time to know the real you. Everyone else is simply reacting to a story they created in their own mind. So you will lose people as you grow. Growth is exciting, but it also comes with a painful reality that few people talk about. Every Sigma eventually discovers that becoming a better person often means leaving certain relationships behind. It's not because you suddenly think you're better than everyone else. It's because your priorities begin to change. The conversations that once entertained you no longer feel meaningful. The habits you once accepted no longer fit the person you're becoming. Instead of chasing temporary excitement, you start focusing on discipline, purpose, and long-term goals. As you change, some people naturally become uncomfortable because they're attached to the old version of you. At first, this feels like loss. Friends stop calling as often. Invitations become less frequent. Some people quietly disappear without ever explaining why. You may wonder if you made a mistake by changing so much. But over time, you realize that growth always creates distance between people who are moving in different directions. A Sigma learns that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people enter your life to teach lessons, while others stay to build a future with you. The difficult part is learning to tell the difference. Though letting go is never easy, holding on to relationships that no longer support your growth is even more painful. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is accepting that not everyone is meant to walk beside you forever. And once you accept that truth, you're ready for one of the hardest lessons of all. Protecting your peace comes with a price. One of the hardest lessons every Sigma eventually learns is that protecting your peace will cost you people. At first, this feels unfair. You're not trying to hurt anyone. You're simply choosing a quieter life, avoiding unnecessary drama, and becoming more careful about where you invest your time and energy. But the moment you begin setting boundaries, something unexpected happens. The people who benefited from your lack of boundaries are often the first to complain. You stop answering every message immediately. You stop saying yes to things you don't want to do. You stop arguing with people who only want conflict. Instead of explaining yourself over and over again, you quietly walk away. While these decisions bring you peace, they don't make everyone happy. Some people will call you selfish. Others will say you've changed or become distant. But the truth is, you've simply stopped sacrificing your well-being to satisfy everyone else. A Sigma eventually realizes that healthy boundaries don't destroy real relationships. they expose fake ones. The people who genuinely care about you will respect your decisions. They'll understand that protecting your mental and emotional energy isn't selfish, it's necessary. This lesson changes the way you see relationships forever. You stop measuring friendships by how long they've existed and start measuring them by how much peace they bring into your life. In the end, losing people who only valued your availability is not a loss at all. It's the price of building a healthier, stronger, and more meaningful life. The most painful lesson: no one is coming to save you. The final and perhaps most painful lesson every Sigma faces is realizing that no one is coming to save you. It's a difficult truth because, deep down, almost everyone hopes that one day the perfect opportunity will arrive, the right person will appear, or life will somehow become easier. But life rarely works that way. Every meaningful change begins the moment you stop waiting and start taking complete responsibility for your future. A Sigma eventually understands that success isn't built through luck or perfect timing. It's built through discipline, consistency, and the willingness to keep moving forward even when no one is watching. There will be days when you feel alone, days when nobody believes in your vision, days when your hard work seems invisible. Those moments test your character more than your talent. Anyone can stay motivated when life is easy. Real strength appears when you continue despite disappointment, setbacks, and uncertainty. This realization is painful, but it's also incredibly empowering. The moment you stop expecting someone else to change your life is the moment you truly take control of it. You stop blaming the past, stop waiting for permission, and stop depending on validation from other people. Your future becomes your responsibility, and that's where real freedom begins. If these painful lessons spoke to you, take a moment to think about which one changed your perspective the most. Share your answer in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more videos about Sigma psychology, human behavior, and self-improvement. Thank you for watching. Stay focused, protect your peace, keep growing, and remember, the hardest lessons in life often become the greatest sources of strength.